Trump denies systemic racism, pushes law and order in Kenosha. The U.S. president visited the Wisconsin city, where Jacob Blake was shot by police, despite pleas from local officials. United States President Donald Trump decried violence at recent racial justice protests as domestic terror while denying there is systemic racism within U.S. law enforcement during a visit to Kenosha, Wisconsin. On Tuesday, the president arrived in the city, where protests have continued since police shot Jacob Blake 7 times in the back during an encounter on August 23. Local officials and members of Blake's family had requested that Trump stay away for fear he would further agitate the situation, which has at times turned violent with property damage and 2 protesters killed last week. "We don't need more pain and division from a president set on advancing his campaign at the expense of our city," Justin Blake, an uncle, said in a statement as the family of Jacob Blake, who was paralyzed in the shooting, held a community celebration during Trump's visit. "We need justice and relief for our vibrant community," he said. After landing in Wisconsin, a key battleground state in the upcoming election, Trump toured the charred remains of a block besieged by violence and fire and spoke to the owners of a century-old furniture store that had been destroyed. While meeting with local law enforcement, he blasted Democrats for what he described as enabling the violence and again took credit for deploying the U.S. National Guard to the city, even though Wisconsin's governor activated the troops and sought reinforcements from other state forces without the involvement of the federal government. "These are not acts of peaceful protests, but really domestic terror," Trump said during a roundtable with law enforcement, referring to objects being thrown at police officers and property damage. Reckless far-left politicians continue to push the destructive message that our nation or our law enforcement are oppressive or racist. "They'll throw out any word that comes to them," he added. The visit comes amid weeks of racial justice protests across the country that began after the police killing of George Floyd in Minnesota in May. Several high-profile killings of black citizens have since fueled the discord. Trump's campaign has seized the moment to push a law and order message that says U.S. cities and suburbs are under threat of being swallowed by looters, rioters and agitators. Joe Biden, Trump's Democratic opponent in the November election, has accused the president of stoking tensions for political gain and drawing attention away from the coronavirus. "Fires are burning. We have a president who fanned the flames, rather than fighting the flames," Biden said during a visit to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania amid his return to the campaign trail on Monday. Biden's team has considered a visit to Kenosha and has indicated that a trip to Wisconsin was imminent but has not offered details. The NAACP said Tuesday neither candidate should visit the city as tension simmers.